Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I am Dr. Hubrix, your professor and guide for CSC100 Introduction to Information Management for the second half of our spring semester 2020. I'm excited for us to dig in, even though I don't get to meet you face to face. Today, I'm going to give you a quick introduction to our course room, talk about the setup, and give you a little walkthrough on where and how to access the content we're going to be exploring. So this here is our landing page, and hopefully you've logged in and clicked on the link from the email that should have sent when I posted this news post. If not, make sure you log in and check it out. But on the landing page, you will find our news posts here over on the left-hand side where I've posted our welcome and talked about the schedule changes with us not having class on Tuesday. We do begin on Thursday. On the right-hand side, you will find any updates that occur within the course as well as my contact information. My email address is listed here. However, for this course, we use a discussion forum called General Questions. That way then all students can benefit if they happen to have the same question, but I'll talk about that more when I get over to that page. Scrolling on down, you will find the upcoming events, and you will see that it does also tell you when different modules and assignments are becoming available to you. Your first assignment that will be due is the consent form, and I'll point that out here in just a bit. Underneath there, you have a quick link to your Outlook and your calendar and OneDrive if you are using OneDrive through Office 365. If you log into that block, you'll have access to those. And then there are some tips and tricks here for using D2L, and if you need any assistance, head on over to the IT help desk. If it's content related, please let me know those kind of questions. Scrolling on up. As you dig into the course, this class progress page will start to populate with feedback, your scores, your assignments, all of that wonderful information. Going on over to the course materials, the content link is what you need here. I'd encourage this is the place to go right off the bat, and it is where you're going to spend a majority of your time within our course room. On the left-hand side, you will find our table of contents. This table of contents will show you what week by week, and you'll see that many weeks we have 2 different modules. Some weeks, like week 3, we only have 1. Those are more advanced modules that will take a bit more time. But it is broken up with us ending with our final project, which is an integration project during that final week, which wraps up during our final exam. So in the meantime, before we start classes on Thursday, feel free to start digging into the begin here. I have posted our syllabus, did that just a little while ago. So let me click on it, give it a second. And scrolling on in here, so please do take the time to read through this all. Once we get back to campus, I did leave my office hours there. The virtual office hours I will post as a news post a little bit later once I get those set. The outcomes for our course are here. This number 1 for our course resource, this is embedded right into D2L, so you don't have to go anyplace else. It just is letting you know what the tool is and how it works. You do need some software. Office 365 is provided by Mount Union. The link is provided here if you have not already installed it. We will be working with Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and Microsoft Access. If you are a Mac user like I am, Access is not available to us, but we will give you access to a virtual machine, so no worries if you're working on a Mac from home and you get to that point. Let's see, scrolling on down, I included a little bit of information on the method of instruction for this course. This hasn't changed due to our remote setup. It is still the same where we would typically have come together on Thursday. I would have talked through this exact same stuff, probably in more depth, answered all of your questions, all that great stuff, and then you would have dug right in. The way this is set up is it's designed so that each module could be completed if you sat down at the beginning and just worked through class. You could technically complete it within one class period with assignments being completed on your own. So this is my suggestion, but of course you're going to have to figure out how this works best with your schedule. The green would be our typical blocks of time, which are 100-minute blocks of times on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do suggest that you right away make sure you block about an hour to work on the assignments and do the readings. Depending on the class, this is 2 credits, so that means 3 to 4 hours of work outside of class. If you break it up, you could technically not have any work that you're working on over the weekend if that worked in your schedule. If not, then just block your time accordingly. I did note down on the bottom here in orange when our assignments are due. We will have 1 to 2 discussion forums within a week. Those are, the initial post is due by Monday night, and all replies to those are posted on, or need to be posted by Wednesday, along with all of your other assignments being due on Wednesday nights. That is consistent throughout this course. We start a week on Thursday and everything wraps up on Wednesday of the next week. Be sure to read the discussion rubric, which is in that getting started area. Scrolling down, the breakdown of the grades are here, chunked by the type of assignment that we have. Grades, office, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you read through all of this. Going back to the table of contents, I do want to walk through the first module. The Getting Started module. This talks about the design of the content. So it talks about how for this particular course, you are doing a lot of stuff. You're reading, you're doing, you're getting questions. You're reading, you're being posed a question or two. You're reading, you're completing a task. So you're doing as you work through stuff. So this will explain that. This talks about the quizzes that you have. And then if I go to week 1, this is your first module. So when you get into the week 1 module, this is the introduction to the computers. What you do is you start right at the top. Click right into study plan. Once the study plan loads, you'll see that you have a number of blocks. Start at the top and click on the block, and then click on that first link. Once you're into the link, it's all embedded within here. Don't use these top and bottom navigations as you're maneuvering through the study plan. Actually work through the pages within here, so they do scroll. Down at the bottom of each of those pages, you have a next and previous button. Each module will begin with a pretest. Take your time. Once again, this is to check where you're at prior to starting. Click the next button once you're done with that. And then you'll notice up at the top here, there are progress bars letting you know how many pages are with this. So know that in order to complete this particular task, you're completing all of those. So you read the information, click the next or previous to manipulate back and forth. Each page will begin with an outcome letting you know what the goal is, and as you scroll along, you will encounter some quizzes. When you do this, when you click this, I'm just going to click the bottom one and say check your answer. It's going to let you know where you're at. So you all know, don't choose the USB ports for this. Actually read the question and answer it. Based on how you do on these self-checks, I get reports through the Waymaker community or tools that allow me to guide and support you in the process. And the Waymaker tools also help me with that. And they give me that guidance as to where you're struggling, and they help identify that. So please take the time to do that. If I go back to the study plan, if we get all the way to the bottom, you will see that there will be an activity pulling it all together. And then after you complete that, there we go. After you read through that, then you click the next button and you end up at your quiz, which is the final piece. And this is the graded one. This is where, back in that previous section, it talks about that you get 2 attempts for it, and it explains why. Once you're done with all of these activities in the study plan, go ahead and click the next button up here, and then it will take you to your discussion. This discussion, you will then scroll down. Here are the actual discussion questions that you will respond to in complete paragraphs using complete sentences. I will post information on how to write. We will use what is known as the meal writing plan. So basically each question you should write a paragraph. It's not necessarily going to be a long paragraph. I don't want big long essays, but enough that you're addressing the questions itself and providing evidence to support, which does require some citations. The rubric for discussions is linked right within here, and that's consistent throughout, so take some time to read that. If you're not familiar with discussions, to reply to this, start off here. Make sure you're putting a description of the subject of it. We're all within the same discussion forum, so be specific on what your topic is that you have chosen or what approach. You know, in this case, you have a number of questions, so just try to summarize it in a friendly manner. And then keep in mind that you're communicating with the entire class. So you may say, start off with a nice greeting, hello all, and then dig right into your content. Once you're done, greetings, Sarah. So then sign your information, making sure that it's there. Even though you respond, remember that you're holding a conversation with someone. It's not like being in a face-to-face class where we know that it's you just actually talking to us. Replicate that by actually signing it. So you're going to see that I sign all of my communications Dr. Hubricks, because I do go by Dr. Hubricks, which is explained in my introduction post on the start landing page. So please take a look at that. Once you're done, you would hit post. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't actually want to post this. Once you've completed that, hit the next arrow, and it takes you to the first assignment. For this first week, these assignments, in this case, you're downloading some files and you're putting it into your folder. And then you will submit that folder that you're going to have to zip up and put into here. So make sure that you zip the folders. I just realized I need to update those instructions, so I'll add that so you do that. And make sure that you're submitting just a single file to me. Once you have that completed, you just keep scrolling through. Each assignment is linked here. When you get done, there we go. Here's the emptying a recycle bin. And then you get to the end of the module and there is a quiz. You're going to see that I actually started a quiz. That does count as one of my attempts. So make sure that when you are getting ready to start a quiz, you are able to actually sit down and complete it. You only get 2 attempts, and the first attempt will not be reset because you didn't submit it. So make sure that you take the time, go through it carefully. Once you're done with it, if you have to retake it, make sure you take time to study and review more resources. Again, that's discussed if you go back to the Getting Started module. That's exactly how all of these modules are set up, that exact structure. Use the study plan, read through the information carefully. I mentioned at the beginning that we will use the discussion forums extensively in this class, so that is under communication and discussions. You will find that there is a general discussion question or general questions forum here. That is where you need to be posting any questions that you have regarding the course structure and the course content. Please post them here so that all students benefit from them. If you have a question, most likely another student has the exact same question. When I click into the discussion forum and I start my new thread, don't address it to me because I'm not necessarily the one that's going to respond to this. If you pose a question and one of your classmates knows the answer, please address the question for them. Help out your classmates. Give them guidance. If you encountered the same problem, let me know that. If you have a different question that follows up on it, let me know that. So that way then when I'm in there, I know where all of you are at. But please respond to your classmates if you know the answers. Don't wait for me to respond because there's a whole mess of us out here. There's only one of me. Make sure that if you can help someone, please do help them. If I go back to the discussion list, there is an icebreaker, so please do go into this. Introduce yourself, tell us why you're here, why you're taking the course. Tell us a little bit about your path that you're planning to head down, what's your major, that kind of stuff. And since we're starting virtually, tell us about your workspace. Show us a picture of it if you can. That link there to the embedded picture is active, so it gives you instructions on how to do that. But definitely think about what you're going to do. What if you lose internet connection? How are you going to use the tools you have? What tools do you actually have available to you? Help us understand where you're at. And if you have questions or need support, please let me know. I've taught online for quite some time. I've worked with students virtually prior, so I am here to help you, whether it's with our class or in other classes. I'm happy to help with this transition as we go through these 3 weeks. Just let me know. Other than that, when we go to assessment, there is the grades page as well, which this is talked about in the Getting Started. You will have your grade tracking up here. It is points-based, so everything is broken down by the weeks. Again, don't be overwhelmed. Some of those are very quick little assignments, especially in the first week where you're downloading some files and submitting them to me in a nice zipped file. Let's see, what else? I think, because if you go to course materials content, I think the rest of what I want to introduce, if you go to the begin here, In this D2L Brightspace Getting Started guide, if you just click on the Getting Started, this does walk you through the setting up of the profile. Make sure you're putting a nice professional picture in there so we can actually see your face. How to navigate, all that kind of stuff is out here. Please communicate with me. Please be sure to use the discussion forum as a tool and start asking questions as you start digging in. I will keep an eye on this. I'll probably check it once or twice on Monday and Tuesday because I still have my other courses to get set up and going. But starting Wednesday, I will actively be monitoring these course rooms. Make sure that you actually click the subscribe button here. Ensure that you are turning on the send notification instantly, so that way then you know if I've answered somebody's question that maybe you had the same question. Use those subscribe tools as we go through this. I look forward to spending the next 8 weeks with you and digging into our course content. You are welcome to get started if you would like. Just know that I will post a welcome post. Probably Wednesday, it'll be out there already. Take a look at that. Once again, I will be in a virtual classroom on Thursday during our normal time. That will be our first time where we can meet. You can stop in just to say hi or get any questions answered if you are able to hop on during that time. It is not required. It will be an optional thing, but I welcome each of you to come to that so that I can actually meet you face to face as well. Until then, have a great couple days, and I will see you very soon.